Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our popular live stream series ALDI Deep Dive Live. This session today is already the fourth out of in total 12 sessions, where we will focus on a certain role or a certain context that we have here in our international IT in ALDI South. These streams will be conducted and published throughout the whole year. And today we will actually focus on quite a crucial topic, which is UX, UI, user experience and user interface design. And this topic is literally quite a colorful one, since it includes different shapes and perspectives. And the range of perspective goes from our customers who interact with our global websites and online shops, where we like to understand how they actually interact with them, what they require, what their particular needs are, and what we can do to improve user experience in order to increase overall customer satisfaction. And it goes up to our colleagues in our stores, in our logistics hubs, and in our international offices who work with our internal tools in their everyday life. And our ambition here is to make this as intuitive and as easy as possible in order to make them work as efficiently as possible to tackle their everyday tasks. User-friendly design is basically everywhere and for everyone.
Hi, I'm Tim. I'm working in the UX/UI cell here at ALDI as a design system designer. And previously, I've worked in a classical design agency, so coming from an agency background. And now I'm now with ALDI for, I would say, roughly 3 years.
Then I would like to draw the focus a bit, or to put the focus a bit on the case that was mentioned in our introduction.
Yeah, very happy. So let's dive into the case. But before we start, let me maybe share some background information why we've chosen this particular case. So this case is not just about the design itself, but it's also a snapshot of how we work here at UX/UI at ALDI. And what we want to show you is what goes on behind the scenes. So maybe what is the rationale behind our thinking and behind some decisions that we're taking? What are the details we sweat on sometimes? So everything that you might not see at first glance when looking at the finished product or a final design. And I think this case will give you a good taste of what digital design really looks like here at Aldi. So let's dive in. Back then, we were tasked with an enhancement of our existing filter modules by including categories as a new option for our customers to filter products. So categories in our case means that users should be able to filter all these products based on the product type, like fresh produce, snacks, dairy and eggs, and so on. So what did we do? First of all, we looked at very important information I forgot. So this change should be a holistic one, meaning that it is valid for app and for web. So what did we do in order to find the best way to approach these challenges? Is we took a look at what we already have at hand. And what we stumbled across was that we identified that we obviously have two very different interaction patterns, one in app with chips as input elements, and the other one in web with checkboxes as the input elements. And suddenly, and that is something that can happen quite easily here at Aldi, suddenly a very straightforward task like enhancing the filters with a new filter option becomes a way more complex, multi-layered problem or puzzle to solve. Let's call it like that, more a challenge, because now we had to decide on, okay, do we really want to keep it? Do we want to maintain two individual interaction patterns?
Yeah.
Or do we want to unify them and create one single solution for this use case?
All right.
And and why this is so or why this is making it more complex is if we just take a look at the two options, there are of course some advantages and disadvantages for each side. Checkboxes are probably the most familiar input element when interacting with filtering. Chips, on the other hand, offer a bigger touch and click target area, and they give the option to lay out them horizontally, which is pretty handy when it comes to limited space or longer lists. But the interesting part now is that there are new needs coming in, not just what is coming from the design itself, but now next to the user that we always have in center in mind, there is a business side to these things, which requires us to be as streamlined and efficient as possible when we design at scale. And as already mentioned, the question, how can we now translate the ALDI DNA into our product? How can we best reflect what are our values by choosing one of the given options? Yes. So for us, and I already mentioned that it is, and I'm super with the community saying, okay, maybe both patterns have their right and both work for themselves as individual variants. But as said, sometimes things are a little bit more complex here because maybe it makes sense for us to combine them. And in this case, we decided to give it a try and try to make one pattern out of it. Our favorite were the chips. So I just mentioned which advantages come with the chips in terms of designing and layouting. So we can, as said, have bigger touch and target areas. We have the option to lay out them horizontally. And as the vast majority of our users are on mobile, so we didn't expect to create big friction when adopting the the mobile web pattern with the chips, because probably they were familiar, but when it comes to web desktop, we can see that the difference becomes more tangible. And there was some kind of uncertainty if it doesn't disrupt the user flow. So what did we do? We conducted a study. So, and I think that is, and first of all, when I say we, it's not me, but a shout out to our great research colleagues. So we have a dedicated user research team which are handling these topics and are very, very closely aligned with our designers and the design community, accompanying them in all the tasks they have to tackle. And that is not only for classical user testing, but what they also do is testing, for example, our visual language in terms of brand fit, I think, which is not something that you can expect everywhere, and what I personally really value. So they set up for us a study in which we wanted to find out if it makes a problem to translate the native app approach into the web environment. So let's have a look how this study was built. So I think what we can see here is that in all relevant criteria, the chip outperformed the checkboxes. So they were easiest to use according to the users. They were easiest to read, and they even were preferred also by the desktop users at the input element for the filters. The only thing where the checkbox gets a higher rating is in what is more familiar. So I think the assumption was quite near the actual result in assuming that the checkboxes might be the more familiar pattern here, but the chips got a very good chance on showing what they are capable of, and I think the results speak for themselves here. And yeah, obviously, so we did the same, and I think this case is not only a great showcase to show you how we work and what is important for us, but it also shows that we could synchronize our multi-channel journey. We could become more efficient and streamlined by making one pattern out of two. We could enhance the user experience based on the testing, even in desktop. And that all by going to a road that is maybe not the most obvious one. And we all know Jacob's law saying, okay, better use a pattern that is commonly known in your respective system. But sometimes it's worth to challenge that. And that is also a value of us being bold and try to challenge the status quo in order to enhance and develop our user experience.
Yeah, indeed. Many thanks for bringing this case. And I think this one truly reflects not only what we do in our design area, how we listen to customers, how our ideas evolve, how they actually materialize, but this is also quite a good reflection of the values that we follow in our everyday life, right?
Yeah.
When we talk about simplicity, when we talk about, you just mentioned it, Jairus, customer and user centricity, but also when we talk about scalability, often these are only buzzwords, right? But in our case, it is really interesting to see that it is applied in our day-to-day work and that it actually leads to great results. Many thanks for sharing this. All right, I think with that we can slowly but gradually close the session. Many thanks, guys, for sharing your insights into your everyday work here at ALDI South IT. And also many thanks into your direction, everyone who joined us online. Many thanks for joining and many thanks for your interest.